What's going on, guys? Welcome to Everything Always. My name's Michael Roman, aka Allfires. Now, it was just under 2 weeks ago at the channel when we talked about a brand new rumor that Jeff Loveness, the guy who had written Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, and Michael Waldron, the guy who wrote Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, were no longer writing Avengers 5 Kang Dynasty and Avengers 6 Secret Wars, respectively. Now, in the days after we posted that video here at the channel, other industry insiders came forward and corroborated the report, but with a variety of language involved. Some said that they were fired, others said that they were simply off the project, and during that video, we postulated a couple of reasons for this: a different direction for the film, a different direction for the script, and perhaps even a different direction with who they wanted to use as a director on Secret Wars. That's where we pick up today with a brand new industry insider update that apparently indicates Marvel Studios has settled on their #1 pick. We're going to talk about where this is coming from, who they named, why it makes a lot of sense, but I'm also going to recontextualize this latest update with an exclusive we broke here at the channel about 6 months ago, and why I still think the door is open for the Russos to return in order to do it. We're breaking down the latest director update for Avengers Secret Wars, but first I want to tell you about my friends over at comicbookdirect.com. Guys, I've been telling you about comicbookdirect.com for months now, and let me tell you, it has absolutely transformed the way that I'm reading comics. Part of the huge problem with not being able to keep up with runs is that you gotta go to the comic store to do it, and for a lot of us, we are so busy that it's just not an option. Well, now it's easier than ever to connect with the comics you want, and they really have everything from mangas and collectibles, anything you need for your comic book fandom. The best part about it is you can get one book if you want, but you can also go ahead and subscribe to a run to be able to keep up with the story. You even get more if you pay up front, or you can simply pay as you go. Either way. And for a limited time, the next 100 viewers who use the link down in the description are going to get 20% off of all future orders. Again, that's comicbookdirect.com. Use the link down in the description, and for the first 100 viewers that sign up, you'll get 20% off. Okay, so everybody's favorite anonymous Twitter scoopster, My Time to Shine Hello, is back with the scoops today, tweeting out late this afternoon that Sam Raimi is Marvel's top choice to direct Secret Wars. Now, this is not the first time that we've heard this, rather him corroborating the report from earlier in the year, back in May, when it started to stir that perhaps Sam Raimi would not only be back to direct Doctor Strange 3, but that would be a lead into Secret Wars, and he would direct Secret Wars as well. Much in the way we've sort of speculated that whenever Shang-Chi 2 should be shot, that the director Destin Daniel Cretton will do the same exact thing and shoot them concurrently in the same way that Infinity War and Avengers Endgame were basically shot at the same time. However, when we heard that Jeff Loveness and Michael Waldron were not writing on Avengers Secret Wars and Kang Dynasty here real recently, I put forward the most likely and logical thing is they want one writer to write for both projects, because there obviously has to be a major degree of continuity between where Kang Dynasty leaves off and where Avengers Secret Wars would pick up. And I always thought it was crazy that they were going to have these two writers write these projects independent of each other, and then not just make them co-writers on both, right? The amount of note sharing that would go on behind the scenes. Not only that, have them attempt to start working on scripts before they had even figured out which films were coming out, and the scripts for, say, movies like Fantastic Four and Blade were on their second and third rewrites. You don't even know where those movies will end. How can you start working on a script for Avengers 5 and 6? So while they've been basically behind the scenes resequencing everything, and that's why I think maybe a major silver lining here from Marvel Studios was this strike gave them a chance to catch their breath and do just that. Not only focus on quality over quantity, but really figure out how all of these are going to work together. This is sort of a break that they haven't had, and even you could argue during the pandemic, because of how many things were still going on behind the scenes. This is basically their one opportunity to stop and catch their breath and really look at the big picture of how this will all work together. That's probably why we're starting to hear updates like this about who might actually end up directing Secret Wars, and obviously for a lot of reasons, Sam Raimi is a very logical choice. Number one, he did a great job with Multiverse of Madness. Number two, he's an extremely veteran director in this genre. Number three, he has all the nostalgic fandom of working on those original Spider-Man films, and speaking of which, he'd get a chance to direct his lead actor again in Tobey Maguire, something that almost looked like it should have happened between Multiverse of Madness and No Way Home, but didn't quite line up. It could all come together in Avengers Secret Wars. He could direct Doctor Strange 3, then with the lead into that, and again get a chance to direct Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man in that finale. Again, it all lines up, it all makes sense, and he's one of the few directors who proved themselves during Phase 4 of being able to handle something that big. However, we ran an exclusive about 6 to 8 months ago here at the channel, where certain sources had started to indicate that Marvel Studios might look to do everything they can in order to bring back the Russos to direct Secret Wars. And while that seemed even more logical and at the time only based on what they had done with the Infinity Saga, but also based on comments they had made within the 12 months prior that if the situation was right, it would be, quote, back to work. There were some major hurdles between Marvel wanting them back and them actually coming back. Number one, they had been extremely candid that with their own production house in Agbo, they wouldn't be available to even direct anything like Secret Wars till the end of the decade, as they put it. Number two, Michael Waldron was already signed on to write Avengers Secret Wars, and it's not that the Russos wouldn't work with Michael Waldron, but what they said was it was script specific, and when it comes to the Russos, most likely they would want to work with their own writers, namely Marcus and McFeely, who they worked through the Infinity Saga with. Basically, if it was going to be them to direct, you could be assured Marcus and McFeely would be the writers, and since then, two things have happened. Number one, Secret Wars has suffered 2 delays and pushed back to at least this point, 2027, and let's face it guys, it could even come later than that, again, the end of the decade. And number two now, in the last 2 weeks, and if the reports and rumors are true, Michael Waldron's no longer writing Avengers Secret Wars. Again, the second thing that had to happen that could open the door for Marcus and McFeely. Now, obviously, that is a pipe dream, and the ship may have completely sailed on them ever coming back to direct at Marvel. One of the big pieces of them being able to direct Infinity War and Avengers Endgame with the success that they had was they had the lead-in with the Captain America character for 2 very strong films, so that they sort of had control in writing and directing over the characters, moving the pieces, so to speak, on the chessboard before the big finale. It'll be much harder for them to capture that same success if all the pieces on the chessboard have already been moved by other people, and then they sort of have to salvage that, and I'm sure they know that as writers and directors themselves on just how hard it would be and what the differences are between the end of the Multiverse Saga and the end of the Infinity Saga. But let's be real guys, there are only a short list of people on the planet who have the capability of directing something like Avengers Secret Wars and making it the film that we all hope it is. And so, if it does end up being Sam Raimi, I will be all for it, not disappointed at all in any way, but I'm not gonna lie and say, honestly, the fan in me doesn't want the Russos to come back and do Avengers Secret Wars. It feels like it's always should have been the plan, and I'm really hoping that there's some truth to those original scoops, barring what we're hearing now about, say, Sam Raimi or any of the others. Guys, let me know all your thoughts down below. As always, if you got to pick, who would you have direct Secret Wars? I am all ears as always. Quickly, let's get into the giveaway stuff before I let you go. All right, we are still giving away a PlayStation 5, actually 3 before the end of the year. We're also doing a comic book giveaway all next month. All the same rules will always apply. All you got to do, hit the subscribe button, then leave a comment down below, because it's truly random, and as long as you're a subscriber, the more videos you comment on, the better chance you have of winning. All winners will be announced at the end of videos, the same way we're doing here. The best way to keep up with the content has always been to hit the notification bell with all notifications turned on, and as always, if you liked today's video, I'd appreciate it if you'd hit the like button. My name's Michael Roman. Find me on Instagram and Twitter at IamFires. You can also find me on Spotify, YouTube, Amazon, Apple, iTunes, wherever you listen to original music under the name All Fires, hence the AKA at the beginning of the video. And while I sincerely appreciate you checking my music out and the support, thanks for checking this channel out, the support here, and stick around, we'll be posting again real soon.